evening,
Hello.
Peter. How you doing?
Hi Ross, how you doing tonight?
Very well, very well. How's your week been? Good?
Yeah, not bad. Just another week, got it done. One more week going, and then we're in some school holidays. So.
That's right. I'm off on the 9th. When are you off? Are you on the 9th?
I don't know. Well, next week sometime.
Good stuff.
Next Friday, and then we'll see what happens after that. It's just going to be a stay-at-home time. So
I think so.
Lovely to see so many folk joining us straight in there tonight. Lots and lots of folk.
Loads of good feedback through the week as well, actually.
Yeah, it's been really good. It's folk are really enjoying it. I'm really looking forward to the show tonight as well. I think we're going to get I don't know what's going to happen tonight. Who knows?
Yeah.
Two real characters, on real great musicians, but real characters. So really looking forward to it.
Can't wait.
Somebody said it's very wet in Aberdeen there. It's not been too wet here today, but it's been a bit blowy last night. So but I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, one of the things we were going to do this month, that was your idea, was to maybe play some tunes. Well, our tunes were going to be to do with dancing, and we were going to try and pull it all together that way, weren't we?
Yeah, I think dancing's has been the theme of the things from the start, actually.
Yeah, because there's so much. The music just intertwines with the dancing and vice versa. And, so we're looking forward to having a wee chat about some of the dances, some of the older dances. See, a lot of the tunes when we play in the Cayley bands, it's the same tunes you play for different different dances. You can use it, but certain tunes do suit certain dances a lot better. And tonight I'm going to play a wee tune, and it's a polka, but I'm going to play it as if I was playing it for a dance called the Pally Glide. Okay. You hardly ever see the Pally Glide anymore, but it was a big thing in Glasgow at one point in time in the 60s. And then the place you do see it is up in Unst, in the very north of Shetland. Yeah. And if you put a Pally Glide up, everybody's on the floor. And they do it in big lines. You don't actually even need a partner to do a Pally Glide.
What's the history of it? Where does it come from? Does it come from Shetland?
No, I don't think so. No, I've no idea. In fact, if anybody knows what the history of the Pally Glide is, let us know, because that would be cool. But I think it's a kind of ballroom type thing that came about. But it's a dance you can do with no partner. So that's quite cool. And you do it in big long lines and go. But the thing is, at the end of every 8 bars, their feet all stamp 3 beats. So it's like dump, dump, dump. So it ties in perfect with this kind of tune. So I'm going to play you this one. It's a wee polka that I wrote called the Timaru Trows. I got commissioned to write this for the Williamson family over in Scalloway. Jennifer, Ingrid and Halden. Fantastic folks, been very, very supportive of lots of musicians on the internet and all that, and including ourselves. So it's great.
And I think if I've learned one thing from this show, a trow's like a goblin. Is that right?
Well, it's like a troll. A Norwegian troll, but a Shetland one's a trow. I think the Shetland ones are a wee bit fiercer than the Norwegian ones.
That makes sense, Peter. Actually,
yeah. They would eat you before they thought about twice about it. So anyway, Timaru Trows. So I'm going to play that tonight. That's my wee tune, and then we'll come back and see what you're up to.
Good
stuff. Here we go.
I'll enjoy it. Take it away, Peter. Thank you very much.
Here we go for the Pally Glide. There we go. The Timarau Trows.
Superb.
Brechin.
Yeah.
So what are you fancying?
Google that to see.
What are you fancying yourself?
I'm going to play the Chartreuse tonight.
Brilliant.
The Chartreuse will be the first of the Highland dancing tunes I'm going to play tonight. And the Chartreuse has a bit of history behind it. Treuse, as you'll recognise, is a trousery sort of word. Treuse, trousers. And it's a celebratory dance that comes from the response to the repealing of the Act of Prescription that came after the Jacobite Rising, when the enforcement of the crackdown of the clan way of life came. So a few decades after that, the repeal came in, and then folk could dance or wear the kilt again. So this is a celebratory dance that comes from that sort of period.
So have you got your trews on or your kilt on tonight?
But because I'm playing the big pipes tonight, you won't get the full effect. So you just need to take it for granted that I'm doing this dance properly underneath what you can see.
Have you got trews on or your kilt?
Well, you're not going to be able to see, so I could say anything. I'm wearing both.
Pink boxer shorts.
No. I'm wearing jeans, but so the dance, the first part of the dance, actually, the first sort of steps of the dance is slightly mocking of how you dance wearing trousers, this foreign sort of garment that they were forced to wear, and it's supposed to represent the mocking of dancing in trousers. And then the second part, if you ever Google the Chartreuse, and you'll see the second part of the dance, you can see the dancers shedding the trousers. That's the movement that the legs make, and it's a cracking dance. And it comes back. It's got a huge part of history. You know, it's a very old dance, and at the very end, you play a little bit of Strathspey. And that's in recognition of remembering how good it was to wear the kilt in the old days. So it's a bit of a circle, you know.
Oh, yeah. I bet that went down really well in the olden days with the women, the Gaelies. They do the shedding of the trousers dance. I'll let you play it. Go for it.
I don't know what you mean, Peter, but I think I do.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, the Chartreuse is a very, very old dance, and it's my favourite to play at the Highland Games. Loads of history behind it, and a beautiful dance to watch. So please go on the internet and have a look. I think it's great. It's Chartreuse.
Fantastic, Ross. Good.
A very, very symbolic, historical dance. A very good one, and my favourite. My favourite to start the theme for the month.
Takes me back to when I was just about 12 or 13 years old. My sister was learning to Highland dance, and they used to go and do these exams, and I got hauled along to play for them, and you had to play that about 40 times in a row.
Yeah.
Different groups.
Yeah.
Really good though. Brilliant. Good.
Yeah.
So,
a couple of good guests on tonight.
Yeah, really looking forward to this tonight. We're going to
have
pipes, big pipes tonight. The big pipes were sounding good.
Thank you very much. Yeah. They're not out very often.
No,
not very often.
Is your neighbour away? Or neighbour not home or something?
Well, no, the big van's outside, so I'll be making scones tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I don't play the pipes much because I mentioned about the hernia. I've still not got that fixed. But I played at a funeral. I played at a funeral on Thursday up at Allan. And when I got there, they said, "Oh, we're just going to play from here to here." It was the whole length of the village, and it was just about every tune, every marching tune in my repertoire it took to get from one end of Allan to the other.
So you probably aren't actually needing the operation now.
I know it just because I've not played the pipes much through the summer. And I thought, it's all right. But tonight and actually on Thursday, it reminded me it's needing fixed.
I think that's a good idea for Jamie. I think we'll get Ross to dance some night, Jamie.
I can do all these dances. It's just the room's not big enough.
He learned them in the army, and I'll get the pipes out and play for him.
Aye. That can be a Christmas special, Peter.
Christmas special, yeah. Great. Right. Anyway, listen, we've got two brilliant guests. I think we'll bring the first young man on. All the way from South Uist, we have Allan Henderson. And let's see if Allan's about to join us. There he is. Hello. Here he is. Hello, Allan.
Hello, guys. Sorry, I had to run and tell the kids to get off the internet a wee minute just because I was having problems connecting to you. So there you are.
That's all right. How are you getting on?
Not bad. Yourselves. Happy New Year.
Yeah, well, you know, this must be about it's a strange year, isn't it? But it seems like the quickest year in the world as well, if you can. I mean, it seems to have just disappeared. Yeah. Even though but 2020 is just about a write-off, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I guess in some ways, but, you know, in other ways, you know, we might just look back on this, you know, God willing, if you're lucky enough to live through this, then we might look back on this, I hope, and take some kind of positives from it. You know, I know a lot of people have they wouldn't have wished it this way, but they've had a wee bit of time to maybe concentrate on projects that they wouldn't have had time to before, or maybe get jobs done that they never thought they'd get round to. So I guess, and you know, I certainly don't want to make light of the whole thing, but it's maybe not always as bad as we think.
No, I totally agree with you there. I think it's opened up especially the digital world. Well, for instance, we're doing this just now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we probably wouldn't even have thought of doing it. A lot of teaching's going on, and I think it's something that will be part of life now as well. That we'll use the net a lot more to present the music to people, and it is a worldwide net, so we can get it out there to everybody. So
yeah, and there's a lot of people that I know that that wouldn't have. I mean, they had a vague understanding of the internet beforehand, but they didn't know how to access the kind of music that they liked, and that's been a big part of this year, and that audience isn't going to go away. So I think that's certainly a good thing.
And I think that's exactly, I think you've just epitomised exactly what my year's been. I've had time to reflect on music that wasn't what I was in before, and I've been able to explore, and especially through this show, meet and find out about other people's journeys, if you like, and it's been great musically. It's a great thing. And I think what you said at the start, that's about the internet and all that stuff you said there, Allan, that means a lot from somebody that's speaking from the loft. A fantastic message.
Well, I was saying earlier, this is the only place I can get any peace and quiet. So, you know, I've got 4 kids and a dog, and it's no easy. It's, you know, so.
It looks ideal, actually. I think I must invest in one.
Well, it's not bad. The only problem is, as a fiddle player, you have to kind of dodge the trusses a wee bit, but it's, you know.
It's a good practice that for dancing about. But you're over in South Uist, originally from Malik.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been living in South Uist for the last 5 years. My wife, Morag, is from here, from Benbecula, actually. And we moved back here about 5 years ago. We were living on the Morag's family croft in Benbecula, and then bought a house in Iachcar, in the People's Republic of Iachcar, which is at the top end, the north end of South Uist. Okay. So it's great. It's a funny thing, you know. All my life I've been looking at the Cullens and Skye, but I'm now looking at them from the other side. Yeah. So it's nice. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, at least you've had that option, haven't you? The guys that went to the moon have only seen one side, so that's it.
That's right. Uh-huh.
Pretty good, though. But so you've been down there, but are you doing a bit of work at the college there as well, then, at the UHI? Or?
Yeah, I teach 3 days a week at the college on the HNC music course, which has been a godsend really this year, because, you know, had it not been for things like that, then, you know, as a professional musician, you know, work-wise, 2020 would be an absolute nightmare. And I'm very mindful of, you know, so many of my fellow musicians that are struggling through at the moment, and no sign of things changing or any work on horizon. So, it's been great. All that's happened is that it's all gone online. Normally, the HNC music course here in Benbecula isn't taught online. We encourage people to come to Uist. And that's part of our kind of USP, I guess. But it is online now, and it's working very well. And of course, you'll know, Peter, yourself being an alumni, should I say, of the BA Applied Music course, which also runs here at Benbecula. It's across the UHI now, the University of the Highlands and Islands. And again, much of the teaching on the BA was online anyway. So, you know, and again, I guess that's the thing about the UHI, you know, we've really been at the forefront of online learning.
Absolutely.
So it really, 2020 hasn't been so much of a problem for us, and all these courses have carried on. So
it's quite interesting, because I'm hearing quite a lot of students saying just now, oh my goodness, going to have to do everything. I said, yeah, but listen, I done it 5 years ago, and I've done it quite successfully, worked full time, got a degree, and it was all possible. So it's still possible for them now. I did have to do one residency in Benbecula. I came down and done a long weekend. It was supposed to be 3 days, but I ended up there for 6 because I got fog bound. Couldn't get back to Shetland. The cheapest way I could fly for Shetland at the time was from Sombra to Inverness to Stornoway, and Stornoway down to Benbecula. That was the four flights in Scotland. Amazing.
Yeah, Stornoway, or Callum Kennedy International, as it's now known.
Yeah. But you know something, it was a great, I loved it down there. It was magic. We had a great time. And of course, being a student, even a mature student, we took life very, very seriously, of course, and study was at the forefront all the time. And
absolutely doubt that. Allan,
I ended up Paul, I forgot Paul's surname, that done the choir.
Paul McCallum, was it?
McCallum, yes. I met Paul, and everybody had gone home, and there was a television programme came to do something in the Isles. It was Dougie Vipont came to cycling around the place, and he was short of people for the Gaelic choir, so he hauled me in to sing in the Gaelic choir, which the only problem with that was I don't speak Gaelic and I can't sing. But he told me just to stand there. I had a big beard for up Hellier at the time and looked the part, so I made it onto the television in a Gaelic choir singing. But so it was a laugh. Have you got the fiddle with you tonight? Do you fancy giving us a wee tune?
Yeah, it's hold on. I'll
and then we'll find out some of the things you've been up to in lockdown.
Well, there's not hellish much to say, really, to be honest. You know, I've just been stuck up here in the loft. That's it.
There's that the famous tassel at the end of the fiddle, though. That's the Angus Grant tassel, is it?
That's the Angus Grant tassel, and this is the same. You know, this is the first tassel that I'm proud to say that Angus gave me. I never lost it. I've always looked after it very well, and Angus used to say that you only got this. People would say, at what stage do you hand out the tassel? And Angus would say, well, once they've proved their worth, once they can drink a bottle of Glenfiddich and still be standing. So I got mine when I was 9 years old.
Excellent. Excellent.
I'll maybe, I don't know, I've kind of got a head full of pipe tunes tonight, so I'll maybe play some 6/8 if that's okay.
Fantastic.
In fact, I tell you what, talking of Angus, I'll play for you the first tune that Angus ever taught me, which was the McNeil's of Ugadale by John Mackenzie.
Great.
John Mackenzie was a very well-known piper from, I guess, South Argyll. He was down the Carradale way, and he was the piping instructor at the Queen Victoria School in Dunblane for many years, and taught the likes of the MacDonald brothers, Glenouig. He taught all three of them, and a very fine composer as well. And
they're a quiet bunch, the MacDonald brothers.
Yeah, reasonably so. Very, what would you say? Nice boys, never touch a drop. And
No.
I better watch what I say, because Ian MacDonald's my brother-in-law, so I better watch what I say.
Yeah.
But,
he'll not be watching a show like this. It's fine. You can say what you like.
No, well, actually, he'll not tonight, because he's in Glenouig tonight. I know that, and he's without internet or anything like that, so he'll just be making his own entertainment. So the mind boggles. But anyway, I'll play that, and then maybe MacDonald of the Isles March. No, I'll do Pipe Major Sam Scott first of all. Actually, we'll go to D after that, and that's a Peter MacLeod tune. Peter MacLeod from Lewis. Pipe Major Sam Scott, I think, was a Canadian piper who had spent some time over here and got to know Peter MacLeod around the Glasgow piping scene. And then, I think people today rightly hold up Donald MacLeod as being somewhat of a genius in terms of the tunes that he wrote, and I would go along with that wholeheartedly. But I would also, I think I would put Peter MacLeod certainly up there as his equal. He was an incredible composer. Mm-hmm. And if I remember how to get into it, I'll finish with MacDonald of the Isles March to the Battle of Harlaw after that. So
fantastic. Take it well. Thank you. Fantastic. Superb. Superb.
Right.
Pro player.
You got into the third tune, no problem
I
at
did,
all
yeah.
there.
Thanks to the good Lord and Johnny Walker, we got in there, yeah.
Good on you.
Excellent. Good. And can I just say something very quickly, folks? If anybody watching out there, please share about the show tonight. If you could, that would be fantastic. Share it wherever you fancy. And Allan, one thing there that I really appreciate, and I'm sure a lot of your viewers do too, is when you give that bit of background to the tunes and composers. I always think that's a really important thing, and I try to encourage any of my pupils to pay attention to who composed things and albeit credit them with what they've done, because there's so many musicians, and well know, don't they? They go on stage and they sit down and go, oh, here's a reel, and I can't mind what it's called, and I can't mind who wrote it, and whatever. And I just think, as you say, when you play the tune like three crackers like that, there somebody deserves a bit of credit for writing that somewhere. So.
Absolutely. Well, it's something I've always been interested in, and I, you know, I have Angus Grant to thank for that as well, because Angus was, you know, every tune I ever learned of Angus, there was some kind of story behind it or a context or something. So, you know, and that kind of that style of teaching appealed to me, and you know, you remember all these stories. So it's something that's always interested me. It's been a lifelong interest. Well, there's Baba Mackenzie in Lochcarron. Hello, Baba. How are you?
Yeah, you'll see all sorts of folk popping up here that you go, oh my goodness, where do they come from?
I'd like to hear a bit about your journey to how you got to where you are. So you're teaching in Benbecula just now from Malig originally. So you've got a million things that's happened in between then and how you got started. So how?
I don't know.
You were from a very musical family in Malig as well.
I guess, yeah. Well, do you know what? Yeah, I suppose we all play, as I always say. That's the thing. I don't know if we're a particularly musical family or not, but we all play. And certainly on the Henderson side of the family, the music goes way back. And music was always encouraged in the house. I mean, my mother was a singer. My father doesn't play anything, but you know, but loves music. And they had a pub in Malig, and there was always music there. In fact, they were involved with a local folk club, if you like. So they were always putting on gigs either in the pub or in the village hall. So all kinds of people came to Malig when I was a kid, and that had a big influence on me. I was very lucky to see, you know, the likes of Boys of the Loch and Phil and Johnny Cunningham and all these different people, and they didn't just come once, they came again. So you got to know these people, and they were a big influence. So there was always music around because there were plenty of musicians in the area as well, including people like Angus Grant. So it was just it was a very natural thing, and I'm very appreciative, you know, of all these things that went on during my childhood, and not only that, probably more importantly, all the people that encouraged me to keep going with music. And you know, I don't ever remember anyone giving me, you know, the short shrift or anything like that. And you know yourself that the fiddle is not the easiest of instruments to pick up. I mean, it sounds like the proverbial fire in a pet shop when you start off, but you know, people were always very encouraging, and my parents as well. You know, that's the thing. And it's funny, you know, when I look back, I'm so grateful for all the sacrifices that they made and the miles they put in to take me to concerts or to competitions or to lessons or whatever.
And that's the big thing about a musician, is for them to be a successful musician. If you look back to the building blocks of how they started there, it was somebody else's commitment that maybe wasn't musical at all, but the days, the miles, the encouragement, the pickups, the pat on the backs. There's lots of stuff about music and successful musicians.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just the pat on the back; it's the kick up the arse too, of course.
But
you're absolutely right, and it's you know, even with the kids that I teach or have taught, you know, over the last few years, the ones that are going to make a go of it are the ones whose parents are involved, whose parents encourage them. That's a huge thing. You can't put a price on that. You know, you can't just send your kid for music lessons of any sort and say, get back to me when they play a tune. You've got to be in there from the very beginning and be encouraging them. That's the biggest thing of the lot, because without that, you know, there's no child on God's green earth that's going to carry on with music if they're not getting encouragement from within the home. So it's a very important thing.
Do you know, Alan, that's one thing I've found when we went into lockdown. I'm teaching full-time in the schools in Shetland, accordion. And it actually worked very well teaching remotely to the houses, because I saw more parent involvement than I'd ever seen before. And it meant the parents could see us working with the child as well and doing the lesson and how it went, rather than it just being the child's away to school and they didn't know what was happening that day or nothing. So I actually found the remote thing very good for that part. It did let the parents in on the game, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you went from there. Did you play pipes as well?
I do, yeah. I mean, strictly weddings, funerals, bar mitzvahs these days, but I did. I was quite serious about it at one time, and it's a funny thing. I've often thought about it. You know, if I had my time over again, I would maybe have concentrated more on the pipes than anything else, knowing what I know now, because I've always been very much into pipe music. That's the thing, and always drawn to the sound of the pipes. I started the pipes after the fiddle. That was the thing.
I'm kind of the same as you now. I'm kind of play at a wedding or play at a funeral or something. But
yeah.
But I've got a fine set of pipes. They're called Hendersons. So
they're Rolls Royce of pipes.
Yes. Get Ross going. Yeah. So,
I was interested. What's your own drones, Ross, that you were playing there?
They were they were Robertsons, but they got refurbished by David Nails. So they're probably they're nail bores, but on a Robertson sort of look. So
right. Well, I mean, Robertson drones are a lovely thing too, and it's funny. I've got an old set of, I think they're lorries, although the jury's out actually. They're either lorries or Starks. I suspect they're lorries. But for years I've been toying with getting them rebored. Did you find, here I am interviewing you now, but did you find did that make a big difference to the steadiness of the drones?
Well, I'll be honest, when I sent my pipes down, he said that he'd have to replace more than 60% or 60% of my pipe.
Right. Completely,
because they were so badly split. So he said, the majority of your pipes are going to be made by me. And he said, to put 40% Robertson bores into my bores, he said, you're as well just having I'll replicate what they look like, which was what I wanted. And he said, I'll put nail bores through them. And that's what he did. So
right, okay.
So they're still got the thick sort of set of wood that the Robertsons did. They're very kind of chunky, but they're great. I've actually got another set of nails that's a lot finer, and they sound completely different. you know.
It sounds to me like that he sent you back a set of nails and sold you Robertsons for like 4 or 5 grand.
My Hendersons are genuine, just pure Hendersons.
Yeah. Me too.
I think mine are about 1910 or something. The silver's hallmarked pH and everything. So
yeah, they'll be a lovely set of drones. Yeah,
they're a big heavy set of pipe. But really nice. So anyway, when you went away from Allan, you were a founder member of Blazing Fiddles, but you were also involved with many other groups over the years as well.
Yeah, I guess I've dealt with a few groups over the years.
Yeah.
In fact, I was just thinking there, the first time I ever met Sandy Brechin, who's on the show tonight, I was taping with you hope. I was taping with a band from Glasgow called Counterach, they were called. Ross Kennedy, Archie McAllister, Charlie Harrigan, and various other guys played with them, you know, at different times. In fact, my sister Ingrid was playing with them at the time, and I was taping for her, I think. And we were going up to play at a festival in Lairg in the middle of Sutherland, and we were playing on the Sunday. And I think I met the boys in Glasgow, and we drove up from there. And it must have been halfway up the A9. We'd stopped somewhere in, I don't know, Ballinluig or something like that, and somebody had bought a Sunday Mail. And there was this spread in the middle of the paper about this festival in Lairg that we were going to play at, because the committee had forgot to get a drinks license. And we thought, oh no, this is going to be terrible, because it turned out that nobody had turned up on the Friday night, and we didn't think the Saturday night would be very much better. So by the time we got there, kind of mid-afternoon on the Sunday, there was this huge marquee with the big PA system, the lot, but it was completely deserted. There was nobody there. So we went to there was a pub just along the road at Crask, the Crask Inn, and it was stowed with all the people that had intended to go to the festival, but then hadn't bothered because there was no license. And I think the band that Sandy was playing with at the time, was it Sealy Who were there?
Yeah.
And here was this guy with the kind of flowing locks, as I recall, sitting up on a mantelpiece, playing the box. On the other side of the bar. And that was the first time I ever met Sandy. So we never actually got to do the gig at the festival, but it was a great night, a fantastic night as I remember it.
And you mentioned Archie McAllister there as well. We've actually got Archie coming on in 2 or 3 weeks' time as a guest as well. So
yeah, well, Archie's fantastic. He's one of Scotland's best kept secrets. He's a genius.
He's a fair nice fellow. I've known him for
absolutely,
over 40 years now or something. I remember phoning him one night and we were doing a wee trio competition, and that was in the days when you used landlines and things and you had area codes. And I remember phoning him in Campbellton and said, do you fancy playing with me in the trio section at Musselburgh on Saturday? Oh, yes, fine. We'll meet up half an hour before it for a wee practice, and it was great because he's a superb player. Marvellous player.
He's a fantastic player, yeah, absolutely.
Him and his brother, both great characters.
Yeah, Alec, yeah.
Both good guys. But so that's taken you about with gigs all over the place. What else are you been up to through lockdown? You've been doing a bit of acting.
I don't know how that came about. The whole Sir Timothy Darty Mackintosh of Clerkenfackel, as he's called. I really don't know what it came out of, but I guess I was seeing other people doing wee bits and pieces on the internet through lockdown and probably fancied having a go at it. So, well, I hope people have enjoyed it. It's a wee while since I've done one, but there might be one coming up fairly soon. It really depends on what Boris and Nicola have to say to us. You know, if we're going to go for a second lockdown or whatever.
Yes.
It's actually quite interesting that me and Peter have spoke about this from the start of doing these shows. The way that people have approached music differently, you know, seasoned musicians that have had to think differently, or people that maybe have not played for a while have taken the pipes or the whatever instrument back out. but seeing the seasoned performer go into character mode, and it's funny that we've got yourself and Sandy on the same night, who have endlessly amused me with whatever character you play. But honestly, and I want to speak out to everybody that might not have seen this on the internet, but one of my favourite things I've seen was Sir Timothy Darty McIntosh from Clachan Futtle.
Yeah.
give us emotional speech that the lady of the estate had ran off with Angus. Irreplaceable Angus. That was hilarious.
Well, do you know what? They both might be back, actually.
Good.
They may have come back with their tails between their legs, so we'll see what happens.
Fantastic. Great.
No, just brilliant. Just brilliant. And then another humorous thing I thought you must have been involved with, I read somewhere that you were kind of involved with the writing of Fergie McDonald's book.
Yeah. Well, that's supposed to be real life. That's rather than humorous. But I was actually, yeah. I mean, that's back in, I think, 2003. It was Bearland, the publishers in Edinburgh, got in touch with Fergie. I think Phil Cunningham had something to do with it, as I recall. I can't remember exactly, but they were interested to get Fergie's kind of life story. So he phoned me and asked me, would I be interested in kind of ghostwriting it for him? I'd never done anything like that before, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And really what happened was I went to see Fergie, and I spent a few days with him, and I kind of wondered, how would it go? Would it be easy? Would it be a difficult thing? I needn't have worried at all, because I basically started the recording, and I said, look, we'll probably just start at the beginning here. Tell me a little bit about where you were born, your upbringing. And, a week later, I think I got the second question in. So it was just fantastic. I mean, he's an amazing guy, Fergie. I mean, I've been very lucky. I've known him all my life. I've played with him since I was about 13. And I mean, some of the happiest times of my life have been spent with Fergie McDonald. You just never knew what was going to happen next, when you were doing gigs with him. I remember one night we did a Hogmanay gig up in Cluny Inn when Danny Stoddart still had it, and we had a great night. And of course, as always, Fergie was we were driving home after it, and he was going to drop me off in Fort William. So we got to about Spian Bridge, and it must have been about, I don't know, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, and a police car pulled out behind us. Blue flashers went on. Now Fergie was brilliant with the police, because of course it was like a weekly occurrence that you would get stopped by the police somewhere, and rather than sit in the car, Fergie used to jump out of the car and accost them before they accosted him. You see, it's all psychological warfare, So he jumps out of the car and he says, "Hello, boys. Fergie McDonald, band leader." And the sergeant gets out of the driver's seat and he says, "Oh, it's Fergie, it's yourself. Happy New Year. Hello, who have I got?" And of course, Fergie hasn't got the glasses on, so he hasn't got a clue who he's speaking to. But it turned out that this fellow, he had an island connection, and Fergie had known his uncle very well. So they got talking about this and everything was fine. And Fergie eventually says, "Why did you stop me anyway, boys?" And the sergeant said, "Well, it's just you were driving a wee bit slowly." And Fergie said, "Oh, I know, but I do that, boys. When I start telling a story, I slow down completely." And so they said, "Well, that's fine, Fergie. Just on your way, and just be careful. Get home safely, So we got to Fort William and just crossed the Nevis Bridge, and we were just coming about the swimming pool there, and the blue flashers went on again. Another police car, So Fergie stops and he leaps out and he goes, "Fergie McDonald, band leader," and he says, "Same boys, is it?" And the policeman that got out of the car was kind of, immediately was on the back foot with us, and he said, "No, I'm sorry. Have you been stopped already?" "Yes, we got stopped at the Spian Bridge. And the guy says, no, it's not the same guy as Fergie. I'm sorry about that. So they get talking, and that was fine. And Fergie wished them a happy new year, got back into the car, and he's just about to take off, and he looked in the mirror, and I heard him go, shit, like this, you know. And he wound down the window, and the police came alongside, and they wound down their window. And Fergie said, you know, boys, you've only got one front light. And the policeman said, I know, Fergie, but you've only got one backlight. So, you know, it was a riot from start to finish. You just never knew what was going to happen next. And the book was a lot of fun. It was great. And we've been talking recently, we've talked a lot through lockdown, actually, and that, you know, we now and again we've got plans to maybe do a second book.
Is that the same book? Is that the same book? I think there's a story in that book, and I might be completely wrong, but Harrickle was where Fergie's famous from, I think. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And was he? But he was quite good at the Highland Games at the pole vault or something. Am I right in saying that?
I believe he was a very good pole vaulter and a high jumper as well. Believe it or not. Yeah.
There was a story about him being late back from the games at Fort William or Glenfinnan, or he got a lift back on a motorbike with his pole vault under the arm. Is that true?
That is true, and funnily enough, that was Angus Grant that gave him a lift on the motorbike. I think back in the day, Angus had like a 250 matchless or something, and Fergie asked him, could he get I think Angus was playing in the Harrickle that night with the Roche Van Cayley band, and Fergie asked if he could get a lift, so Angus said yes, of course. Well, the next thing, Fergie went away to get his pole vault.
You know, when you talk about we were having I used to have the music shop up in Lerwick for a number of years, and Phil had been up, Phil Cunningham, and Phil always telling the stories about Fergie and all that, and we'd been out for a pint, and he was telling all the stories, and then it was about 3 days later in the shop when the phone went, and it was this voice, and it said, hello, it's Fergie, and I thought, it's Phil at it, you know, he's taking the mickey. So I said, oh yeah, very, very good, yeah, no bother. And kind of got him off the phone, and then done 1471 at the time to see who, and it was Fergie, which was a terrible shame. So to phone him back and apologise, and I said I thought it was Phil Cunningham taking the mic, but it was just Fergie and his salesman.
Absolutely,
trying to get me some CDs. So
well, you know, it's a funny thing. It was Phil that actually got Fergie back into playing, because for a number of years, Fergie, by his own admission, had a I guess a fairly serious drink problem. And he associated, you know, or he blamed that problem on playing music. So he just decided to cut that out when he stopped drinking. And he was in his hotel, the Clonranald Hotel in Mingery, Harrickle, one day. And he said, this young fellow came in and got talking to him at the bar. And the guy said, you know, I've wanted to meet you for a long time. He said, I was brought up listening to recordings of yours. Yeah. Fergie hadn't a clue who this guy was. And he said, I play the box myself. I've got the box in the car. I'd love to have a tune with you. So out he went, and he took in this box, and the phone went through the hotel. So Fergie went to the phone was for him. He went to speak to whoever it was. And he said, the next thing, he heard this music coming through from the bar, and he couldn't quite believe it. And he went through, and, you know, here was this guy with smoke coming off his fingers, basically. And Phil said to me, he says, you know, we have to get you back. We have to get you back playing. We have to get you back on television. And he said, I'm producing a series at the moment for the Gaelic television. This was long before BBC Alapa, but the money had first come into Gaelic broadcasting at the start of the 90s. And he said, the program's called Talavada, the village hall. We have to get you on it. And that's basically how Fergie started back again. So, yeah.
For the folk that are watching this that don't know who Fergie or Angus or these people are, like, Fergie was a sellout, like the folk queuing. Rockstar status, you know, in Glasgow, everywhere. Like, it was you could sell out anywhere in the day.
Yeah, I mean, he had for a number of years. He did the Saturday night residency at the what the Highlanders Institute in Glasgow. Yeah. And the second Highlanders, I think, which was on Berkeley Street, and it's no longer there. It's all flats now, unfortunately. But it was apparently incredible. You know, like if that dance started at 8 o'clock, then they were, you know, queuing around the block by 7 o'clock. Yeah. And as Fergie said himself, he said it was the biggest band ever, because they would go in the side door of the Highlanders, and he said all his mates would be there. One would be carrying a drumstick and all this kind of stuff. You know, getting people in for free. It was like an orchestra by the time they got them all in. You know.
Yeah. Brilliant. Allan, have you got another tune you could give us?
Yeah. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll play the tune of a Gaelic song from Lochaber. It's not the original tune of the song. The song is called "I'm Clying You Me Money and Down," or "Do You Hear Me, My Brown-Haired Girl," believed to be composed by Donald MacDonald, Dal Down, who was a famous Gaelic bard from Bray Lochaber, from the Roybridge area. And Dal Down would have lived, I guess, in the late 1600s, early 1700s. He was probably most famous at that time as a cattle thief, which was you were quite a celebrity in those days in the Highlands if that was your bag, because it wasn't considered a crime. It was actually quite an honourable trade, and if you weren't big enough and bad enough to look after your own cattle, then hell mend you. The story goes, and I got this from Angus Grant, but he was involved in the theft of some cattle from now I'm trying to think. The cattle were from Badenoch, from the Newton Moor area, and Dal Down and his men had made off with these cattle, and these boys from Newton Moor had given chase, and they eventually found their cattle in a field that belonged to Grant of Currymony, who was the owner of Achart Castle at the time on the shores of Loch Ness. So they went to Achart Castle and brought it up with Grant of Currymony, believing that he had taken their cattle, but of course he hadn't. And Grant of Currymony knew fine well who had taken it. It was Dal Down. Now that was bad enough, but even worse was the fact that there was no love lost between Grant of Currymony and Dal Down, because Dal Down had eloped with his daughter, Mary Grant. So he decided he was forever dreaming up schemes to do away with his son-in-law, you see, which must have made family get-togethers quite interesting. But anyway, Dal Down by this point was hiding in a cave further down Loch Ness side, above what is now the youth hostel at Invermorrison. And they knew that, you know, he was a pretty handy swordsman, crack shot with a gun, these kind of things. So they couldn't really approach the cave with any great safety. So what they did was they sent up a young boy from the area with a note, supposedly written by Mary Grant, asking to meet Dal Down later that night. And sure enough, poor Dal Down, when he turned up, he was taken prisoner and thrown into the dungeons in Achart Castle, and he was sentenced to death. He was sentenced to be hanged, actually, but he asked that rather than be hanged as a common criminal, he wanted to be beheaded, which fitted his station as a Highland gentleman. So Grant of Currymony relented and said, "Okay, we'll not cut your head off. It will not hang you, we'll cut your head off," which is quite a nice touch, really. And that's what happened. He was beheaded on the other side of Achart Castle towards Inverness, I believe. And apparently, legend has it, or Angus Grant has it, that Mary Grant was present as he was beheaded, and as the head rolled away from the block, it spoke to Mary and said, "Tuk Michael Navari, lift my head, Mary," because even in death, he didn't want anyone touching him other than Mary Grant.
All right.
which I think is a lovely thing in many ways. It's a wee bit gory, I know, but it's a lovely thing. So.
Just slightly.
Just slightly. I'll maybe play some jigs after that. We'll just see what comes out. So.
Great stuff. Fantastic, Alan.
Thanks, boys.
Superb,
Thank
absolutely.
Brilliant. Driving stuff, man. Fantastic.
Superb.
Thank you. Listen, Alan, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Alan, have you got any CDs or anything like that just now that folks could? No. Right, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know more about Alan Henderson, just Google Alan Henderson and you'll find lots of them.
I've kind of told you everything, so there's nothing more to know. That's it.
You've done well. You've done well. You've been it's been very, very lightsome, and it's been wonderful having you on and hearing these. There's Alan Barnett over in Canada there.
Great stuff.
Fantastic.
Great tunes, great jigs at the end there as well.
Thanks very much.
Can't wait to see the next episode of the Laird.
I'll let you know when it happens, boys.
Yeah, please do, because we'll advertise it on the site as well. We'll put it all on our pages as well.
And on a serious note, not that the Laird isn't, but there are people that wanted to. I was a late learner on the HNC course that the National Piping Centre did, and for you teaching up there, like for the people that are wanting to go out that are maybe older that don't know all that, research that because it's out there, and there's great people like yourself teaching, approachable, nice lairds like yourself. So these courses are available.
Yeah, they are very much so. Yeah,
and me and Peter both did music courses later on in life. So if you're one of these people that wanted the UHI or any other outlet that there is to do music courses or whatever, that's what we're trying to promote. So these courses are there, and there's great people behind it, and it's people like thee and I. It's
I like that. Yeah. It's not a Henderson for nothing.
Yeah, these courses are all going strong, and you can do the HNC music course, for example, all over Scotland now, and right throughout the University of the Highlands and Islands. Listen, I'm biased. I would encourage you to come here to Uist and do it. It makes a lot of sense. For the music we're teaching, it's still a living and breathing thing here in South Uist, and you'll have a wonderful year while you're doing it. Myself aside, you'll come into contact with a lot of wonderful people within the community here in Uist who are, music's as natural to them as falling off a log, and people like Anna Wendy Stevenson as well, and Simon Bradley, and Ian MacDonald, of course, as well. So it's a great place to come and to study and to live. You can go on to the UHI, University of the Highlands and Islands website, and find out about these courses, the HNC music or the BA applied music degree, and it doesn't matter what your background is, what your standard is, what age you are. That's entirely beside the point. If your intention is to get further into this music and to learn more about it, and even to improve yourself as a musician, then welcome aboard.
I even managed to get halfway through the masters. So
okay.
Anyway, listen, Alan, thank you so much for giving us up your time on a Sunday night.
Well, listen, thanks, boys. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and you never know. Maybe if the Laird of Clachanfuckle makes another appearance, and we might have a world premiere on the show here. That would be quite nice too. So.
It would make a great Christmas special. We'll just leave
it. There you go. Okay.
You'd be most welcome. That would be fantastic, Alan. We'd love it. We'd love it.
Okay, boys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was brilliant.
Thank you.
Better go and let the kids back onto the internet.
Okay. Thanks very much. We'll see you again.
Alan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan. Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Great stuff. You can't beat the stories. That's what I think.
Yeah, but a nice man, stories, and also history and accurate stuff in there as well. Though really nice, informative stuff.
He referenced Angus Grant a lot.
Yes, well, yeah, Angus.
And we never really got. We never. It'd been when he comes back at Christmas time.
Yeah, we'll get him then.
We'll get him then. But I'm sure, and this is the great circle that we're living in this wee show that we're doing.
Yeah, it's great fun.
We'll get Angus's story through somebody else pretty soon as well. So
I hope folks don't mind out there, but we're going to keep the show going a bit longer tonight. Are you all right with that, Ross?
Oh, aye, of course, aye.
quite handy because that was great. I can't believe how much time went past there speaking to Allan, and we could have kept it going and going. But we do have this other gentleman coming on now, and he's been grouting his bathroom wall. So he's maybe got more done than he meant to get done now. So all the way from Edinburgh, we're going to bring on Mr. Sandy Brechin, and hopefully Sandy's here with us now.
Oh, God.
Hello.
Is he finished yet? That bloody fiddler. Yeah, fiddly, diddly, don't stop. Can I come back next week? Because there's not really enough time left for me to showcase my entire talent, is there? I'll just have to make it quick then. This is Sandy Brechin here, in the guise of Leonard Rossiter from the 1970s country. Now, I've just caught myself. Actually, it's Leonard Brown. This is how Leonard Brown dresses. Funny enough, I met Leonard Brown in my home village of Kirkliston last year for the first time. He was visiting some friends of my parents. By a bizarre coincidence, I was there selling the old dear one of my second-hand accordions. Anyway, you got me here with Toki, and Toki is well, he's just a normal little dog. Actually, he's a Canadian dog, but he's dressed up for Halloween. Anyway, you just caught us. We've descended into complete depravity here in lockdown. I'm on quantum cigars, and he's on the cigarette.
Oh, goodness.
Bad doggy.
Evening, Sandy. Evening.
Stop. Sandy, this is the exact reason I stopped watching you on the internet and lockdown. I wasn't sure if it was actually you as well.
I don't really have enough time to play one of my sets because they're far too good and far too long, but Turkey could give you a quick dash on his accordion. Come on then, Turkey. Black doggy, have you any wool? Oh, you're such a clever doggy. Yeah. Have a little bone.
Sandy, it's delightful to have you on the show.
Ooh, look at these little tiny bones. They're tiny, but they're delicious. Mmm.
Delightful to have you.
You know how long you chaps kept me waiting? 5 moustaches. That's the 5th moustache I finally managed to get stuck in him before he ripped it off with his clever little paws.
Sandy, we're going to keep going.
Anyway, what is it? What do you want?
We're not cutting your time. We're not cutting your time. Don't worry. We're going to go for longer and longer.
Oh, that's good because I've got half a bottle to get through yet. I hope I can sponsor it with other bloody companies eventually.
Fantastic seeing you. Fantastic having you on. How are you doing, old chap? Are you well?
Well, as you can see, I'm going slightly stir crazy, but all in all, things could be worse, I suppose.
Ladies and gentlemen,
on a serious note, Sandy, how have you coped through lockdown?
Well, it has been quite difficult, actually. I don't want to give you a big sob story, but I'm very glad that I'm also a teacher. Otherwise, I'd be very, very. I'd have a lot more time on my hands. But yeah, missing playing live and missing the crack part of it, and it's not so much crack on your own, although you can have some fun with costumes and little animals, all in the best possible taste, of course. But it's not quite the same as playing in your local establishment hostelry with frothy, overpriced, freezing cold lager, and listening to the same old tunes you've been listening to 20 years, but never really appreciated before. So yes, I'm kind of missing it in a way.
You kind of miss them when they're not there, don't you? You kind of miss them when they're not there.
Well, I was getting through it okay until the First Minister, God bless her, said that it could be another 6 months, and that was a bit difficult. But it wasn't unexpected, and it's not out of place. But yeah, a little bit difficult for the people in the arts.
Yeah.
Sandy, is that sheep?
Sorry, that's a question from the man with the tie. By the way, I put this tie on especially for you, Roth.
What, just the tie? The sheep with the moustache, has it got horns as well?
Has it got what?
I'm saying the sheep with the moustache, has it got horns as well behind you?
It's got horns. That was a Halloween idea because he has been on my dog. He's my flatmate's dog. She's Canadian. He's actually a Canadian dog. I don't know if you noticed by his he pants in a particular Canadian way. But he's going back. They're remigrating. I think you call it re-emigrating back because apparently it's less. It's more spread out over there, and so there's less virus spread or something. I know. Anyway, our visa's running out, and she's got to take little tokers with him. So I've only got 2 more shows left with him. So he's got the King of Costumes coming up in 2 weeks.
Really?
But can't say anymore. But
Ladies
yeah,
and
it's going to miss Halloween, so I thought I'd put the little arms on, the little horns on tonight. I was actually not going to dress up tonight because I thought I don't need to do this. I've been doing this for 6 months in my own show. I've become a caricature of myself. I don't need to do this. I can just be me, Sandy Brechin. And then when we were speaking earlier, you went, "You're going to dress up?" And I went, "Oh, okay."
You know, folks, for everybody out there, that maybe doesn't know Sandy already. Sandy's been doing Sandy on Sundays. That's been his broadcast, and so worth looking up. He's been in different characters every week, which has been amazing. There's been some incredible characters. The one in the graveyard was quite interesting.
While Sandy's stirring his gin and tonic with a banana, Peter, what's been your favourite Sandy character out of all this? And I'll tell you mine.
Well, I liked Holmes. I really liked Holmes in the graveyard. I thought that was quite something.
Yeah, I like the Swedish chef.
The Swedish chef.
Yeah. And if you don't know what we're talking about, go back to Sandy Brechin's Facebook videos, and you'll get entertainment for the rest of your life.
At least we've found out how to keep him fairly quiet for a minute or two. Give him a banana.
Tony loves bananas. He's mad for the bananas. It's a very strange dog. I trained him with this bunny that I was given from a gig abroad. You do all these gigs abroad. Well, again, I used to take it for granted. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Shetland's abroad. I'd even take a gig there these days. But no, I can't even get a gig in my own back garden. But when you used to play abroad, lots of these European countries, they'd come up and give you a present, really a worthless present that would be something that you had to take back in your case. But I've treasured these worthless gifts. This is one of them. It's a rabbit made of straw on a stick, which is very useful. I can't even remember what country gave me that, but thank you, whichever country gave me the rabbit made out of straw on a stick. And it's been brilliant for training Toki because I think he's too nice as a Canadian dog. He needs to learn how to be a bit rougher, rough. He needs to be tougher if he's going to be able to cope in the real world out there.
The thing was, when you started playing the accordion and learning with Chrissy Letham all these years ago, did you expect to be here doing this someday?
Did I expect to be doing this? I didn't expect to be doing this a few months ago.
No, I don't.
No, I didn't. No, I can actually remember it was the 1970s. I was lying prone watching the black and white telly, one of 3 black and white channels available on a dial that you had to physically click round. And I was lying on the floor, which is my favourite place for watching TV, about a foot away from the screen. And I was watching, I don't know, Champion the Wonder Horse or something. It was Saturday morning. And my mother came through and said, "Right, I've got a lady on the phone. Do you want to learn the accordion or not?" And I turned round going, "Champion the Wonder," and I went, "What's an accordion again?" And she went, "Right, you start next week." Like, ah! And that was it. I was strapped into an accordion from the age of 8 and not let out until I was a fully grown adult.
And that was it.
Cool, if you ask me.
So that's how it started. And
it was wonderful. She taught me, and then her son Owen Murray, who eventually went down to London to be the first ever professor of accordion in the UK, which was quite a feat. And he was grown up. I actually did classical music with him.
Chrissy taught a lot of famous players.
Oh yeah, well she taught Phil Cunningham as well, I think, or Owen did anyway. Owen did.
Yeah, there's quite a number of them.
And you I think, yes.
No, not me. Not me. No. I just was kind of dragged up through the sewers.
Well done. That's the best way. Self-learning. Yes.
Well, kind of. I did get help. I did get some help, and that it was good. So, anyway, you got to give us a tune.
If I must.
Slightly bigger one. And then we'll talk about small accordions and everything. Look, there's somebody said, "Get your box out and give us a tune, Charlotte."
If you, yes, I get lots of comments like that. If you will indulge me, I'll play one of my own, which is my most requested tune by me, or by other people even. It's a tune I wrote for my late great uncle, he was quite a character. He was an old farmer in Pullman in West Lothian. He was called Roddy Martin, and he was my dad's older stepbrother. But my dad didn't find out he was his brother even until he was an adult. Just used to get sat next to him at Christmas every year as a child and go, "Who is this guy? Why don't you always invite at Christmas?" They didn't talk about stuff like stepfamilies in those days. Anyway, the wonderful guy. He had 20 little terriers that used to come running down the farm track whenever a car arrived, and we would get left there for the day while my dad, who was a vet, going the rounds. And yeah, always an interesting day out with Uncle Roddy. Anyway, this is a tune I wrote for when he passed away. It's called Roddy's Last Trip. Come on, Chucky, show a bit more interest.
Fantastic.
I've got a really
What's the last
chair here
tune,
which I
Sandy?
use for the special effects department, and
Sorry, I'm
I
out.
get
I'm
stuck in the
out.
table chair. I've got such a tiny flat. I'm actually trapped in this tiny little space here. Yeah.
What was the last tune called?
And it was either highly strung or sonically justified. They're all my tunes, so I can never remember which one's which. Because I wrote them so long ago.
For anybody,
I've aged so much in the show that I'm going to put on a grey moustache.
if for anybody that's watching the show, for that last,
If there's anybody still watching, you mean?
for that last 30 seconds, Toki was watching you in complete despair with half a moustache hanging off.
He's got the same problem with moustaches as me.
It's probably
When this boy gets going, he's unbelievable. This was once a chicken that he took the legs and wings off. This was a squirrel that was given to him only this week. It's just a ball of string now. This is the one that really gets him going, though. So this is from last week's show. Sooty, we did Sooty and Treat. Let go, Sooty. It's a squeaker. It drives him mad. He realised that the main aim in Toki's his main aim in life is to rip Sweet's head off. You know, he's got a taste for Sooty now. Whoa! He almost careful, boy, down, boy. He almost spoke the contra there. What's that, Sooty? You wonder if the folks at home would like to hear you do a tune. I'm sure they would. Excuse me. Sooty's very good on the xylophone. Well done. Sooty's little magic wand. I made this wand out of a lolly stick last week. It's amazing what you can do when I've got to sell this on Etsy afterwards. It's just Tipp-Ex and a marker pen and a lolly stick. So easy. Abracadabra. Sorry, do you have any more questions?
Sandy, yeah. See, we've got the right website here. We've got your website. Can people go on to the website and buy all your CDs and stuff on the website?
Nobody's ever done it before, but yeah, they could, I suppose.
Yeah. That'd be good. Did you do one or two tutor books as well? You done a couple of tutor books, didn't you?
I never did a tutor book. No, that would be unfair on the unsuspecting learners. I did bring a book of my own tunes called Out Was Mind, not surprisingly.
Did you not do a tutor course as well?
Out of this box and out of this tree. And,
I thought you'd done a tutor course thing.
Peter and Sandy.
I'm going to have to distract them with a chew stick.
It's not Toki. It's not Toki needing distracted. It's Sweet or Sooty.
It's okay. He's got his chew stick now. He'll be calm for the next couple of minutes.
So
good doggy, good doggy, good doggy.
So folks, you can go onto Sandy's website and you'll find his tune book. And I thought you'd done a tutoring thing as well.
No, I always meant to actually. Now you mentioned it, Peter, but I never got around to it. But it's I haven't had time. I can't use that excuse anymore.
Anyway, tell us the bands you played when you went through when you were at uni. You were in a Cayley band. Yes,
well, I've still got that sensational Jimi Shandrix experience.
Okay.
And it's a cross between, it's like Electric Cayley band. It's a cross between Jimmy Shand, the great Sir Jimmy Shand, and the great Jimi Hendrix, who, if he'd lived long enough, would have no doubt been a sir as well. Anyway, the two of them are both spinning in their graves at the thought of me combining their names, I'm sure. But probably at slightly different speeds. The revolutions, Sir Jimmy Shand will be going round.
Stanley, can I ask you a question? Sir Jimmy Shand, as a piper, the pipe music that he wrote, or the pipe music that we play at Jimmy Shand's is fantastic. What's the attractions? I'm here.
Sorry, yes, the gentleman in the tie. Carry on.
So to name a band, the Sir Jimmy Shand experience, obviously there's influence from Jimmy Shand. What is that? What is that?
Shandrix. It's a combination of Shand and Hendrix. Oh well, yeah. It's all.
I'm interested about the Jimmy Shand side of it. Like, what attracted you to the Jimmy Shand? What is it about his style that you like?
Well, a good steady beat. I do play a few Jimmy Shand tunes, but the Bluebell Polka is one of my favourites, actually. I'll give you a quick burst of it. But in fact, I was asked, this was not my own idea, I was asked by Green Tracks many years ago to do funky version of it with the do behind. I didn't do that. I just played the tune. But surprisingly, nobody ever heard of it then. But anyway. Again. Wow, I didn't even wait to be asked. I just launched into it. How rude of me. I apologise. I apologise in reverse. Anyway, yeah, a bit of the old Jimmy Shank. Another one of my favourite.
That's what the show's all about.
But I'm not going to torture you with that right now.
That's what the show's all about, Sandy. Just going for it. So anyway, groups you've been in, you mentioned the sensational Jimmy Shandricks, Burach, Sealy Who.
Yes, and one called the Sandy Brechin Band, which is not very original. Now I've got a new one as of a couple of years ago called the Sandy Brechin Trio, which is not very original either. Anyway, it wasn't my idea. I was with a couple of friends from Sweden.
Kaylee Minogue as well.
What's that?
Were you in Kaylee Minogue as well?
I still play in Kaylee Minogue. Actually, Kaylee Minogue was the name of the very first band I had years ago, but Gavin Marwick and the rest of the guys in the band took the name after. It was actually Kaylee Minogue and the Fierce Bad Rabbits, to give it its full title. But it took the name later, and bizarrely enough, I ended up playing with them anyway for the last 20 years, filling in for Gregor Lowry when he's not available. So, well, that was back in the days when we played gigs. Obviously, not lots happened in the last 6 months. But yes, I do still play with Kaylee Minogue now and again.
I mind the first times meeting you way back. We used to meet up in the Green Tree and things in Edinburgh. Remember?
That's right. That was brilliant. Monday nights after I went to the Bagpipe Society. Yeah. Yes, I learned the bagpipes. Right. I still can't play them 30 years later.
Same.
The only thing, you had a slightly bigger accordion.
Yes, well, I've still got that bigger accordion, but to be honest, most of the time I play these little kid-size 48 bass accordions. Yep. It's a bit weird because they're small. Sometimes people think they're a button accordion, like an Irish melodeon. And I've actually been wearing it, and somebody's come up and said, "Is it difficult to learn the button accordion?" And I went, "I don't know, mate. It's a piano accordion." It looks difficult.
But we've actually had somebody, when we put the post out with your bio on it, and you had your photographs, somebody texted back to the show and said, "Is Sandy a giant?" So it might not be a small accordion, but it is a small accordion.
A giant among men, he presumably means, or she presumably means. But yes, no, it's just a very small accordion. I'm actually tiny.
I'm right in saying that you play in a band with a very good friend of mine, Gary West.
That's right. That's another new one. It's only 2 years old. It's like an accordion. It's only 200 years old. It's a newbie on the folk team. Yes, myself and Gary and Greg Borland, that I used to play with for many years in Burach, fiddle player and bass player extraordinaire. We have a trio called Brogue, which means a big shoe. Don't ask me why. It just seemed like a good idea at the time. Anyway, it seems to be remarkably popular. It did before we all had to stop playing. So.
Great.
No, but I think that'll come back. I think because the idea of a trio is an appealing thing. I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's definitely the way to go. Financially, is you get 40p instead of 20p for a gig. So I'm right on for the trio. I'm thinking of doing a new duo with a dog because he only gets paid in little tiny bones, and that means I can keep all the hard end dosh.
See the using the little accordion though, using the 48 bass. Surely that's made travelling about the world and things a bit easier.
It's very handy for it. Well, it was very handy for getting in planes back in the days when you could get in a plane.
Yeah.
In fact, I used to go up to teach in Orkney and sometimes in Barra, actually, some of the smallest planes I've ever been on. And you could just about, if I took it out of the case, you could just about squeeze it in the overhead locker. But I have had a few problems where I've had to strap it onto one of the wheels on the undercarriage and stuff to get it there. But, thankfully, I've had a third spare moustache waiting just in case the show went on a bit.
So you have it tends to go on about this show. So, but the thing was that you have played all over the world. You've been lucky in that respect up until now. So you have got the memories.
I've been incredibly lucky to play all over the world. Once and only place, obviously, because a second time would only be to apologise. But yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how long that one ran for. 25 years, I think. No, I did go back some places at the same time, same place sometimes. Colombia was one. Colombia invited us back. Despite best efforts, I couldn't block my copybook with the British Council in Colombia, and they invited me back twice. I've been in Russia a few times, almost been arrested in Russia, actually. In fact, I saved Brian O'Hara from being arrested by the police at 6 o'clock in the morning in Moscow by bribing them with a tiny miniature bottle of vodka that I had in my sporran, and that lucky mini bottle of vodka bought our freedom from the Gulag. So yeah, I've been Australia, New Zealand, Europe, Scandinavia, bloody freezing, but hey, it's nice.
Got a favourite stick out memory? Big gig, enjoyable gig, best fun gig?
God, honestly, they're all brilliant. They're all fantastic. I know they say that, but one of the most memorable was Uganda. Going to Uganda 4 years ago to play for a Burns night, not a Burns night, sorry, St Andrews night. Yeah. And really, I've never seen. I thought traffic in Edinburgh was bad, but you just went out of the hotel straight over avoiding a crater-sized pothole straight into the stationary traffic, and you would have like millions of cars up on the pavement. Motorbikes weaving their ways in between them, and one guy driving a motorbike with a full-size couch across the way on the back. I mean, that's driving. If you want to pass your advanced driving test, just drive around Kampala for a day, and you'll be a wizard.
Yeah, I remember being in São Paulo in Brazil as well, and that was some place for driving. Amazing.
I've been to Brazil. You've trumped me there, Peter. You've trumped me.
But there was the Ayrton Senna Highway. Says it all, doesn't it? But it's great going about all over the place, isn't it? And it really is an experience. But you've done the Australia and New Zealand bit and all that. That looks good.
Yes, quite a lot. I was actually supposed to be going to New Zealand in April this year for the second time. I've been there about 14 or 15 times on tour, but the second time to teach for Scott String, which was a teaching week for New Zealanders, and myself and Adam Sutherland and Maggie Adamson last year. You know Maggie. And
Maggie played in my band for a while sometimes as well.
Wow, she's fantastic. Sailor woman as well.
Yeah.
Very admirable. I'm into the old sailing.
Yeah, but you didn't sail to New Zealand though.
No. I've sailed to Norway many times, but not to. I've sailed around half of Europe, but not New Zealand. One day.
Ross,
that got postponed till next year, but whether it'll even happen in April next year, I'll be surprised. But fingers crossed.
Ross is a sailor. Ross has got a boat on Loch Tay.
Ross Norton, the gentleman with the tie.
Yeah, the gentleman with the tie. Yeah, has got a boat on Loch Tay.
Really? What size of boat is it, Ross?
Well, it's a 17-footer, but I'm not going to boast.
That's lovely.
Yeah, it's fine.
I love the high seas. You know, the Crinan Canal for me and all that. I've actually taken the puffer that the BBC were using for the remake of the Parahandy through the Crinan Canal. It was wonderful. That was about 20 years ago. But I can't actually do the old pub whistle. You're up at the over soon.
Cool. I don't think the dog was that impressed there.
I've just forced another tune on you. No, he's not impressed with anything. Actually, he's smiling inside. He's smiling. I don't need to keep feeding him. He'll eat anything, honestly.
Sandy, I'm dying to ask you a question.
Go for it.
But it's a loaded and dangerous question, because
Most of them are.
I'd hate this to go the wrong way. I'm a big promoter of encouraging youth into music, and not cautious. Like, whatever you're doing is fantastic. Like, how would you, in one sentence, encourage kids that might not play the accordion into playing the accordion, or any music, especially Scottish music, because we're that way inclined? But like, how would you encourage that without making it too
well, I think the best thing you can do is just show what you can do with it. So many things you can do with the music. I mean, it's been wonderful for me. I was going to be a vet like my father, but didn't make the grade. So I was suddenly left not knowing what I was going to do, and went to well, luckily managed to get scraped into uni to do languages, bizarre languages. I did Russian and Arabic and Norwegian, actually, among other things. And it came out still not knowing what I was going to do years later. And it was just a great scene at the time that I first met Peter on the folk scene in Edinburgh. It was a great scene in those days, in the early 90s in Edinburgh. So it all happened by accident from there. And so I never planned it. So I'm one of the very people that saw other guys like Peter playing, and I was like, God, I would love to do that, seriously. And years later, by great stroke of luck, I did. And I just hope that in some small way that my huge success now will encourage the younger generation.
I think you have had a huge success. You've had an amazing success, actually.
Well, I feel myself very lucky, very lucky.
You've done very, very well. You're a well-known guy, and I've never heard a bad word said about you, to be honest. So,
you're obviously not mixing in the right circles. In Russia, I have a terrible reputation.
The dog looked a little bit worried there when you said about being a failed vet.
Well, honestly, you should see the size of my dad's hands. He's retired now, to the relief of cows all over Scotland. But my dad has hands that are like twice the size of mine, and I've got big hands. Honestly, the poor animals. I was traumatized by seeing that every week. So yes, little Toki's very lucky I'm not a vet.
Yeah, look at him. He's like,
yeah, this could be you, pal.
Sandy, on a serious note, is there anything you would like to bring up? That can people visit your website and buy stuff? Yes, they can. You have
delighted. Brechin Records. It's a terrible pun.
Yeah, but
it's flashing up on the screen right now. Yes, I've got tons of music. It's not just music by me. It's music by lots of talented people, singers, some very traditional, some modern. I'm lucky to have had a foot in both camps of the very traditional and the quite techno, housey kind of hip-hoppy kind of thing that I'm down with the kids. Yeah, okay, a little bit mostly traditional. Anyway, we've got a lovely mixture to suit all tastes. Oh yes.
Brilliant. Fantastic. That's great. So, folks, please go on and have a look at
Get on your horse, and trot on down to the Brechin Records website. Look, Follow the bouncing ball. Follow the bouncing chicken. Breaking all records. Oh, I could eat that. I could eat that. Give it back. Battle.
Sandy. Good
Right.
Good place on our city tunes.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
Good place on our city tunes.
When am I going to get out of here? I'm trapped in the show. I'm stuck here forever.
Nah, it's all right. We'll get you.
How are we going to get out of here? Not you. How are we going to get out of here?
These are ridiculously fast tunes called The Canny Repair. It's about a broken exhaust pipe on a car going up to a gig up in the Highlands many years ago with fabulous fiddler Pete Clark and Northumbrian piper, a wonderful chap called Graham Dixon, who's actually a Geordie, a real live Geordie, and plays the old Game Boy. Or it's Northumbrian pipe. I call it the Game Boy. That's what it sounds like. Beep, 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 beep. Anyway, managed to repair it using a can of Coca-Cola. And Geordie driver, can of Coca-Cola, broken exhaust, the Canny Repair. Wow, what a title. Perfect.
Can you do that again, Sandy? I missed that.
Needed the safety hat on for that one.
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
Lindsay Weir's just put on, this has gone down in history. She hasn't laughed so much.
Well, I haven't aged so much in ages either. Well, lads, it's been a great show. It's been a long show. It's been a very long show, but thank you for inviting me to spend the twilight years on your program live on the internet. I wish you all the best and future success with your careers, the one with the tie and the one without. Here's to you.
Sandy, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Well, really, it's nothing. I do this every week, whether the television's on or not. Me and Becky have quite a laugh, together.
I reckon you've cheered so many people up tonight, and this, as we say, we're in strange territory, aren't we? We're just,
we're in strange territory.
Yeah,
I tell you what, though, sometimes he doesn't realise who the boss is, and I have to show him. Just give me a sec. Believe it or not, a friend of mine made that pieces of rubbish. Look, it's totally packing some stuff behind it. Unbelievable. It's artistic. David Brady made that. That's what Tony wants to do when he grows up.
Didn't even flinch.
I tried to get him to wear this. What? He's the big. Oh yeah. Oh.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
Sandy, thank you so much. It's been fantastic seeing
you guys to get to wear that before. That's brilliant. Glad we couldn't on TV. Hey, give me a high five! High five! Yeah!
Good dog, good dog, good dog.
It's been so good having you on the show, Sandy. Thanks for making it one special night. Everybody visit Sandy's website and buy lots and lots of CDs and things. That would be great. That would be really cool. So thanks, Sandy. See you, bud. Oh dear. Oh my goodness.
Let's not do this again.
That was hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
Fantastic.
Do you know I've been getting like private messages along the way, and it's, how on earth have you got one of the best fiddlers in his loft switching the internet off from his kids to give us like the best tunes, and then on the same show having that thing that just happened there? It's fantastic. Wait, how would you describe that? I couldn't. I don't think I could.
I think he's Joe, you're not the only one having a seizure.
Fantastic. Peter, you say this. I think you say this every show. What we're trying to do is show everybody that musicians are normal people. Sorry we failed tonight. But next week we'll try harder.
No. Listen, we're good guests for the next month or so. It's just absolutely brilliant. Can't wait. Folks, I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did tonight, because that's been unbelievable. Allan Henderson and Sandy Brechin, absolute stars. Absolute stars.
Please look back Allan Henderson and Sandy Brechin's videos. Like, never be bored in life. Look back at the stuff that they've put on for us. It's hilarious.
Phenomenal musicians, but phenomenal entertainers and nice people, and just hilarious. Just hilarious.
Yeah. Good. Well,
I'm gonna have to go and lie down.
So am I. Like
in fact, I think I'm gonna go and stick my head in the fish tank or something. Right. Okay.
Listen, you've got a big week coming up here.
What's that?
You're not getting older.
No, not I. No.
You're not getting older.
Am I? Oh, maybe. It's about this time of year, right enough. Yeah.
Sure.
When you get to my age, it doesn't matter anymore.
It'll matter to folk like me.
You just keep laughing. Keep laughing.
And I'll laugh. Don't you worry.
It's been absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What a great night. Folks, share this about as much as you want, because that's absolute a gem. A gem of a show.
Absolutely. But there was lots of serious stuff in that show. The UHI and tuition, and folk coming through, like working with animals. Is you can do that. You know, like it's, what could go wrong? You can be a mature student in Benbecula and work with animals. What could go wrong?
That has to be the most peaceable dog I've ever seen in my life. Puts up with anything. It's just amazing. Anyway, right, listen. Sorry, folks. This is an hour and a half long show, nearly 2 hours tonight. I hope you don't mind. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves a bit. We certainly have. And we'll see you next week. We'll be on midweek to let you know who the guests are next Sunday night.
We've got a great month.
We've got 2 cracking guests for you next week as well. It's going to be really entertaining, real different stuff coming on. It's all happening.
Yeah,
so
really.
Thank you so much. And remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you can. It doesn't cost anything. It's completely free. Just subscribe to it.
Find some friends to share it with too. Like, spread it about.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. Well, anything on a serious note, that'll do.
There's not been a serious note all night, Peter.
I don't know. I can't think of anything else to say now. Anyway, that's it. Listen, thanks very much, folks. It's good night for me.
And a good night from him.